Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. We are joined by Travis, Slick James Johnson, Paul, Flatten Earth, and Conspiracy. I've forgotten the rest of your name, I'm really sorry. Good to have you all.
Morning.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
While he's settling that, I'd like to take this quick second to give a shout out to Lori, my personal agent Smith.
Maybe try that again, Slick.
Yeah, I want to give a quick shout out to my personal agent Smith. Lori, this guy is stalking me, waiting for me to make a mistake so he can drag me back into his belief system because I slipped.
Also been joined by Chocolate saying, shout out to Colin Turner for hitting the super chat. We do a bit of housekeeping. Anybody object to that?
Morning, guys.
Nope.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I'm with, was that Flat Earth? Did I introduce
I'm
you
all
to Flat
ready,
Earth?
Nathan. I'm ready.
Okay. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Scientific evidence of what?
Gravity, Travis. Scientific evidence
Nope.
thereof? Anybody?
Not-
Anybody at all?
Caught me
Nothing.
unawares on that one. It's usually the third selection. I wasn't actually ready then. Carry on. No scientific evidence.
Any evidence of Earth curvature?
Nothing going
None
on
at all.
with that.
Nope.
Not even at 2 inches, 5.8 miles.
Any evidence that you can have a gas pressure without a container?
None of that either.
Nope.
Any evidence of axial rotation?
I haven't. Everything seems to be pretty still. But see, what they say is that constant motion feels the same as stillness, so therefore it has to be constant motion. And I always said, wait a minute. If constant motion feels like stillness, well, isn't stillness still an option? That doesn't mean that all of a sudden it has to be constant motion.
No, we're spinning because you can't feel the spin.
Right, but you could be still. In other words, when you're still, you can't feel that either. So how come that is no longer an option in their eyes? That's weird.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Nothing there either.
Nope.
Nothing at all.
Shout out to Sean Tibbets for hitting the super chat. Really appreciate your support. Thank you very much indeed. Where were we? Any evidence of the R value?
Nothing whatsoever. It's just something they made up, it sounds like, to make everything fit, but I don't know. I haven't seen any evidence of any of it.
I've been doing some more research on the twine. Logistically, they're having a hard time making the ball big or small enough, but also making it where I can use it effectively. And also logistically of how, what's the best way to maybe put different strands across the world and then try to tie them together. It's been a nightmare to try to figure that out.
Well, hopefully one day your quest will be successful and we'll get an answer to that. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Nothing. I still hold on to the adage that the sun is right where it needs to be for my experience anyway.
Anybody else?
That would be a no.
The Huygens assumption that Venus is the same size as Earth. Kepler's third law and all that nonsense. Okay, well that concludes the housekeeping. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah.
It didn't take 45 minutes like it did yesterday, but still, a bit higher enthusiasm was greatly appreciated.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm trying, but it's just so, some of those questions, when you just realize that it's all made up, it's just hard to.
I wonder if Jose did a housekeeping on his end and he asked for evidence of flat Earth. I wonder which housekeeping questions they'd come up with.
I don't know. I've only skimmed the surface of what Jose's doing, to be honest. So, yeah, don't really know.
Well, it's kind of like it's a lot like this. It's an open panel, but it's mostly globe people. And what happens is that it's kind of hard to keep control because you know how globe people are. And I'm not saying flat Earth people are not like this either because they do the same thing. But they all, it's hard to keep them all from speaking at once because, they, Rumpus, you got to understand their star is Rumpus. So you can just imagine, And then you got George Nat Nuke, so put George Nat Nuke and Rumpus and, P. Mars and all of those people in the same room, and well, need I say more?
You know what we ought to do when Jose publishes the link is that we all ought to jump in at the same time and try to take up as much of the panel as possible.
I
Yeah.
want to do a little shout out, if you don't mind. So, one of my favourite YouTubers called Dilly Gill, which is DILLY space GILL, Dilly Gill, and he did part 1 of his STS-51D analysis today, about 40 minutes long. He's the guy who did the Space Shuttle as a zero-G plane, but he basically goes through in very close detail and studies the footage that's been released to the public by NASA. Specifically in this case the STS-51D mission, so well worth checking it out. I really love Dilly Gill's videos. All of them I've watched at least twice, probably more times, and they're not short but they're just excellent in every respect. Not the most polished YouTuber, and he's the first to admit it, but he's definitely improving in terms of that. But that isn't why you'd want to watch him. It's mainly down to his content ripping apart the fakery of NASA and how they do it, what they're doing. Yeah, he's got a proper bee in his bonnet for doing a good thorough job of it, and he's, if you ask me, the best debunker of that particular type of material out there in terms of showing you how the Hollywood techniques are applied. So he is exceptional. Go and subscribe to Dilly Gill immediately if you haven't done already. During the next conversation I'll dig out a link for him and spam it in the chat, so if you're in the live chat you can go straight to his channel. But yeah, Dilly Gill, DILLY-GILL, check him out.
Will do. Well, I guess, can I just jump in with a question or something on my mind I wanted to bounce off you guys?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm trying, I know you guys know how to formulate a science experiment, and I want to know if this can fit into an experiment. You take a globe believer as your dependent variable. So the hypothesis will be, can you change a globe believer's mind? Okay. Your independent variable, that I'm going to say, can that be something like information? Could it be science? Could it be one bit of science or one bit of evidence? That's the variable, because I'm finding like whatever's being used, for the flat argument against the globe earther, you know, it just seems like it's throwing up a wall. It's throwing up a defense. And I'm trying to look at it scientifically. Is there a way to just like crack through this? Because I see the same thing happening over and over. Like certain things just trigger people and then they go into fight mode. And I wanted to try to see, you know, if anybody's figured any way to get through to people. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
Shout out to Awaken Narrative for the super chat. Really appreciate your support. Thank you very much indeed. Sorry, Travis.
The problem with that's okay, is that the variable of the globe believer is going to be as diverse as your independent variable. So no one subject believer, that is going to be convinced by the same argument. So it's going to change every single time, as if like you're turning a prism in a 360 degree. You've got 360 different variables and possibly 360 different arguments that you could present as your independent variables. So that's a you know, it's not a one size fits all. It's a great question.
I don't know. Looking back on it, when we all believed in the globe, how unique were we, and how unique were our thoughts?
Right. So my story is that I believe my mind was geared to be open to change, because I had already changed my mind in my community of Christianity, where I had decided that I was going to go with the evidence that I found rather than the consensus of my community. So I changed my mind and made that decision, so that when I heard, for me, the argument I heard was flight paths from New York to LA being shorter because you're traveling in opposite directions. That took 30 seconds and I was in. So for me, I didn't fight flat Earth. I didn't, try to disprove it or whatever. I was like, that totally makes sense. That makes so much sense. And I was done. So what I mean by that is that I don't think you're going to find another me out there that's going to, jump ship so fast.
Well, yeah, that's what. Well, but I mean, it will work for a lot of people, and like the P900 looking across water works for a lot of people. Yeah, it just, I just, it's such a mystery that how
I think though that
you'd
only be able to write your. I think that you'd only be able to write your equation after the fact, so you couldn't make a prediction. You couldn't predict that Joe Public, upon seeing the evidence that I provided for 2 inches of line of sight over 5.85 miles, when Joe Public hears that argument, he will be convinced. You can't write that formula. You can only look at it after the fact and hear his story and understand that for him, my footage at 5.85 miles, 2 inches above the water, with a iPhone Lite was enough for him. But for Sally Public, he needed to hear or see something else.
Yeah, for some people, maybe they just go with what their friends say, as simple as that, and don't put any thought into it.
This is psychology, not science. Just say hello quickly to Anon Moto, please, have you?
Hey, what's up, Nathan?
Have you?
Good.
But I think it also depends on what people. Oops, sorry, that's okay. I was just thinking. I think it also depends. I mean, I agree with Travis. I think there's a lot involved in it. I mean, I've had people say, "Well, until an astrophysicist tells me, I ain't gonna believe nothing." So no amount of evidence is going to affect that person. I could say something completely I think is not even scientific to my wife, but that makes her want to question. So it's like you never really know what's going to crack the nut. And I think it's just keep plugging information, and something's finally going to catch. Or if not, it may never catch if they're not open, as Travis said. If they're not open, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a mystery, that's for sure.
Yeah, back in 2016, I remember people using the term silver bullet, like they'd find some single flat earth proof that would just blow everyone out of the water and everyone would have to accept it with this one piece of information. I just don't think it works like that, because it's like you are actually undoing brainwashing. There isn't a single thing that's been done during your upbringing that's led you to the understanding that you live on a spinning sphere. It's a slow process of constant information that is just available without you having to necessarily take it in. So it is almost subliminal in the respect that you aren't aware of what you don't know. If you don't know that you don't live on a spinning sphere and you just see spinning spheres on the sides of buses and on advertising billboards and on the sides of phone boxes and all the rest of that stuff, then do you still have phone boxes? Maybe not. Anyway, besides the point.
Not in the US.
Sure. But my point being that it's not just necessarily the solar system mobile that hung above your crib. It isn't necessarily the video that I see my kid watching that's got, cartoon characters flying around the moon. It's not one piece of information that's brainwashed you into the understanding that you're on a sphere. It's lots and lots of continual rhetoric that's just presented to you as fact all the time, without you appreciating that it isn't. You're just told that it's so, and you just accept it because that's the reality that you are presented with at a subliminal level. You don't actually see the picture of the sphere that you're presented with, but you understand that that's where you live.
So would you call that like a walking hypnosis?
Yeah, it's brainwashing.
Yeah, but I mean, like once you're brainwashed, you're now hypnotized, right?
Yeah, two
or
different things. I wouldn't necessarily say it's hypnosis, but yeah, it's definitely brainwashing. Hey, Ibn Kim.
Morning, how are you guys?
Ibon, I'll have to get your name right. I'm saying it wrong. Ibon Kim.
All right, everybody gets it wrong, just like globe Earth.
The children programming is insane. Every show, and I have kids, so I watch these things. There's always an astronaut. There's always a planet, especially the more popular ones. They're always a dinosaur. There's always. They don't talk about dolphins. They don't talk about giraffes. But they talk about dinosaurs all day.
Yeah, it's like that in my kid's nursery, the toys that are laid out. If there's like animal toys, there'll be farmyard animals and dinosaurs.
Yeah, or if you go to like I don't know, you probably don't have Fred Meyer up there, but it's just like department stores. You go to the children's sections and you go to the boys sections. What is it? It's a rocket ship and a dinosaur. It's just, you can't get away with it. I mean, you can't get away from it.
Yeah, that's exactly why it's brainwashing. You've just got to make sure that information is constantly prevalent, so that you're just taking it in whether you like it or not.
The whole process starts with a child, because when you have a child, and I probably said this before, but just to reiterate, when you see a child playing with a toy at 2 years old, he doesn't believe anything. But that's when the implants of the belief start. Take Santa Claus. That's where it all begins. That's, people think the process of belief starts in adult life. No, it starts right at that point, so that by the time you become an adult, it's well ingrained into you.
Hey, Arwin.
Hello.
Show today. Very informative.
Ooh. I got a whole
Yes,
pile of
I myself literally had a mobile of the solar system above my crib when I was a kid.
Right.
So that's how early it started for me. So yeah, you're right. So it's retarded.
But
on the other side of the coin, I think about this too with kids. If you think about it, we actually start programming them to believe authority right off the bat. Because there comes a point where the kid keeps asking why. Then you say, "This because I said so," and it starts to condition the child to believe authority because you're the authority. And so
I really try not to say that.
Oh, I know. I try not to either. I've not done that yet. But unless it's something dangerous, then it's I said so. But with them learning, it's a different issue. So, but I know what you mean. I mean,
we're talking about
2-year-old. She's not gone to that question of why yet.
We're talking about brainwashing on a general level, though. We're not necessarily saying about the practices that we on the panel commit to, because obviously we're going to be far removed from this. But it doesn't change the fact that, you know, certainly for me, whenever it was in 2015, immediately you start noticing what was just subliminal messaging that you didn't take in, you didn't really pay a great deal of attention to. The logos of globes, the globe at the beginning of every movie, all that sort of stuff, it just didn't occur to you to pay any attention. It didn't seem like subliminal messaging, but it is. And the second you find out that it's not true, you notice it everywhere. Like everywhere you look, all you can see is globe programming, because that's what it is. It's there to keep you programmed. It's there to keep you brainwashed. And why doesn't everybody just snap out of it? Well, because the brainwashing doesn't go away. You know, it's in some instances it's so strong you see people going back to the brainwashing because, you know, they're not constantly cognitively aware of how much there is and how strong the powerful programming that's been put in place to keep you under this illusion. You know, that doesn't just vanish when a few people find out that it's a lie. It's still there.
Did you guys see the new hit piece by I think it's ABC News from yesterday?
Oh, you break up. Say again.
I said, did you guys see the new hit piece made by ABC, like 2020 or something, or 60 Minutes?
I did.
I think it's from yesterday.
Yeah, they did that. Robbie Davidson on there, and they also interviewed Logan Paul.
But by the way, how is he that gullible? How the fuck did they really think that Logan Paul was there genuinely? Like, I just don't understand. Like, he's too gullible.
No, well, not gullible. You don't naturally assume that somebody's lying through their back teeth when they tell you, quite specifically and explicitly, their friend is a flat earther, they're interested in the subject and they'd like to come to your conference. Then you take that at face value. So from that perspective,
but he's
absolutely.
A professional troll.
Say again?
I said he's a professional troll. Like, he has many videos. If you go to his YouTube, it's all trolling. I mean, you have to go, well, I think I'm being trolled. Like, I mean,
and everybody knew that about him. So
if he was making videos about, like, I don't know, reviewing cameras or just like whatever, anything but trolling.
Okay.
Like, he's a professional troll.
Right, I have spoken to Robbie Davidson personally about this very subject. He spent hours discussing it with him, and he got the impression that he was genuine. He was, in fact, lying through his back teeth to Robbie Davidson. That's just the facts of the matter. Now, you can call him gullible if you will, and yeah, you could say, well, you should have just known that he was lying to you because he's a professional troll. Well, yeah, you could have that argument, but I've listened to Robbie's side of the story, and I say, would I have been caught out as well? Probably. So, you know, I don't think he's, in that respect, done anything wrong. If someone just lies to your face, and that is how they professionally troll you, you're going to find people that will buy a certain version of a certain story. You know, a liar's a liar. And they still manage to maintain lying to people. It doesn't change that people get caught out or fall victim to it. And certainly in that particular interview, that impression came across from Robbie. So, you know, I'm not going to knock Robbie for getting caught out by this. You know, focus on the person that's trolling you, not the person that's been caught out by a troll.
He should have known not to trust someone with two first names.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, look at the Mark Sargent. He knew right away. He was like, I'm out of here. And I did hear his explanation I saw his video with Jeranism where he explained how this whole thing happened. I don't know. I still think he's kind of gullible.
But you know what? Hold on a second. I'm just thinking from the background here. Now, this is just me now because this is just my experience. I don't expect anybody else to. But as far as I see it, Logan Paul has done more for Flat Earth than all of those guys put together.
Just for the audience's benefit, Nathan Oakley and Nathan Oakley 1980 channels do not necessarily share the views of Slick James Johnson. That's all.
Yeah, I 100% disagree with Slick James here too.
I tried to watch the video. I just thought it was off. I thought it was just terrible. I don't think it.
I watched it, but I kept skipping it.
Yeah, I skipped through it. It was kind of unwatchable. I was just kind of
noisy
to see if I saw myself in Denver, but.
Did you hear that from Arwin? It's too noisy. It's too loud.
Yeah, it was very noisy and annoying and meant for hyperactive children that can't focus on anything longer than 10 seconds unless something is flying at their screen. It's annoying.
That's just because you're 200 years old. Everything seems old-fashioned.
The one
Don't be
way I would
ageist.
agree with one way I would agree with Slick is that obviously it's a troll movie or whatever, but
All these 21st century people, terrible.
People have been turned on to Flat Earth because of it. I've been spending some time in the 24/7 Flat Earth Discord, and yeah, people have showed up because of that movie, trolling or not. Like people, and I mean, trolls have showed up too, but a lot of curious, real people have showed up too. It's pretty awesome.
True, true.
I mean, generally the people who do turn up, even if they're trolls, and obviously staunchly against the idea, they're still here. So there must be some reason for them to be here.
See, one of the things that I'm experiencing is that mostly from what I'm hearing, Logan Paul is just really just being accused more than anything. He didn't say he was a troll. He didn't speak for himself. Other people are speaking for him. So when you have people that are in the community, when they speak, all of a sudden it's taken as gospel. So they're out there stating that Logan Paul's a troll. He double-crossed us. That's them talking. And then you have your set of believers that simply believe what they're hearing. Logan Paul never stated I'm trolling anybody.
He did. He did. So he's gone to Robbie Davidson, told him the whole shebang, which is essentially the narrative of the plot of his movie, i.e. his mate thinks he's a flat earther and he's interested in finding out. That's the plot. That's what he's told Robbie, the plot, right? Selective parts of it. Another shout out to Awaken Truth. It says Chocolate saying is the homeboy, my dude. Indeedy. But on the ABC thing, or was it ABC? Is that correct? Whatever the one that came out today. He basically says, he's asked, are you a flat earther? And he says, it's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Well, that's complete contrast to what he told Robbie Davidson.
Right, but think about this. Just think about this for a second. The guy has to protect himself. Okay, he knows what'll happen if he goes out there. See, this is the problem. People like Robbie Davidson and all of this group of self-appointed flat earthers think that this guy is supposed to put his neck on a chopping block for them. When Logan Paul gets his head chopped off, where are they going to be? Nowhere to help him. So the guy has to protect himself. How can I fault a man for protecting himself?
Yeah, he needs to, because he's a professional troll and he makes enemies everywhere. That's why.
One thing I'd like to add is that not all trolls are going to state that they're trolls when they're trolling.
He probably does this a lot. Just go to people, say, "Oh, look here, I want to do something really positive." Those people don't really look into who he is, and then he just trolls them and gives something exactly the opposite.
Dude, he pissed off all of Japan.
The only thing I'm hearing,
hold on one at a time.
The only thing I'm hearing right now is a lot of judgment. Just passing judgment. That's all I'm hearing. No further questions.
Judgment for his actions.
We're judging machines. That's all humans do, judge.
Sure. However,
we're judging on him on his actions. Okay.
Just not to side with Slick, but just to make it clear, we are now talking about this subject, right? So that's positive. Number two, other people have come to this subject directly as a result of what Logan Paul has done. That is also positive. So from that perspective, you can only focus on the positive and say people are coming, it's exposed it. But for the fact that Robbie Davidson had a conference, we would not be discussing this. So it's very quickly forgotten that the focus of the discussion has been highlighted by Robbie Davidson's bloody hard work that he puts in huge amounts. Everyone forgets about that immediately because some troll comes along and parasite that he is uses Robbie Davidson's hard work and puts Robbie Davidson's reputation at stake. Now that's the kind of gamble that Robbie Davidson's taking for what exactly? Oh, flat earth. Oh yeah, let's persecute him quickly. Why? He's the one putting on the bloody conference. Anyway,
well,
it's all ass about face. It's backwards if you ask me. There we go. That's just my opinion.
Like you said, any attention is good attention.
Yeah, I agree. Long term, there's no such thing as bad publicity.
I don't fully agree to that.
It's wrong.
That's okay. We don't have to agree on everything.
Nope. Nope. Look, in the beginning, when nobody knows, like literally nobody knows about flat Earth, has ever heard of it, yeah, any attention is good attention. But when everybody has pretty much already heard about it in one way or another, yeah, then negative attention can just reinforce negativity. And there will always be people everywhere that will indeed take a peek at flat Earth. But yeah, there will be eventually more trolls hopping on.
But I think
there will be new people being curious about flat Earth. So,
but I think the new people are going to recognize is why is there so much negativity on flat Earth now? I mean, why is it supposed to be so funny to make fun of flat Earth now when it's been around for a long, long time? Just like creationism, people want creationism taught in school with the evolutionary model, and I want that. That's good. I'm an agnostic. I think any knowledge is good, and it's just like how YouTube wants to censor certain topics because of potential misinformation. I think misinformation is good, especially when you know where it's coming from. When people are who are out there creating content and it's misleading people, it's good to know who it is that's misleading people.
right. Okay. I wouldn't put it as misinformation is good, but yeah, if it's gonna be there, then you can as well learn from it. That I think misinformation is not good.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Misinformation
Did you see
in
that
itself is not
AMTV?
good.
You know,
I forget that guy's name. Sorry, Sid, go ahead.
That's okay. That's okay. One of the reasons that, because like people are blaming Logan Paul for making Flat Earth a joke. Look at people, the so-called leaders, the ones out there that's with the conferences is all that. What are you doing when you go to these conferences and you see all these people with their models and their gadgets and they're selling? Now that's a joke, you see, but people overlook that and then try to blame somebody else. See, so that's why Flat Earth is being seen as a joke, because these so-called leaders are making it a joke, but they're just passing the blame off to somebody else.
What?
I disagree.
What are you talking about?
He doesn't like the fact that flat earthers are making the azimuthal equidistance map model like a little, instead of like a little globe, you have a little thing, the dome on it. He doesn't like that. He doesn't want any models, no nothing. Kind of like a butterfly. You don't know what the hell's going on. You're just gonna sit on a flower, lick the thing, and enjoy your life. That's what I get from Slick. Like, just do your thing.
Right,
don't
stop right there.
kind of like don't ask questions.
Sorry.
That seems to be the trend.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. Before this ends up being just an ad hom fest amongst ourselves, Paul, what was it you were trying to get in there? Paul,
I got a call. I'll just keep talking. I'll get back with you.
oh, okay.
Well, the thing is, I think it's when members of the distribution network of debunking globe Earth model, I think it's more of those who are taking it upon themselves to become the representative of a particular movement or being the gatekeeper of the movement, whatever it is. That's the problem.
Yeah, but that only works as long as people accept it. So there is no real leadership. There are people but putting in work, making effort, or trying to set up conferences or projects, but they're not leaders. They're just the one doing it.
I understand.
And everyone can go with that or not for whatever reason.
Yeah, and that's why it's self-appointed. It really is dependent on the people who are following
Those
that
who make the efforts, get the attention, basically.
I think making the effort is good. It's just that self-promotion part.
I don't recognize any leaders. They're just other people out there, other followers who are trying to get the message out. It might be a little bit more popular than other people, but I don't recognize nobody as a leader.
Yeah, there's no official hierarchy. There's no rules. Yeah. There's no hierarchy.
No, I understand that. That's why
popularity and like what you like.
I
Del West Watson for smashing the super chat. It says smashed. you very much indeed. Really appreciate your support.
That's why the key word I was saying was self-appointed. No one's gonna appoint a leader in this movement that's occurring, because we understand that the whole point of having a leader for a movement is part of the problem.
Right. Self-appointed leader, like Awake Souls, for example.
Nobody's obliged to follow any of these people.
No, of course not.
People seem to concern themselves with the fact that others follow these people. Why is everyone following? It's like, why do you concern yourself with what everybody's doing? Just worry about what you're doing. If other people want to follow someone else, leave them to it. More power to them.
Those are the people that sound like they need leaders.
Right.
But that sounds like...
Yeah, the people who want the answers, the people that don't rejoice in the limited understanding that you have. I find it very exciting. I go, wow, we don't know why the sky's blue. That's amazing. Wow, so much to be discovered. That's so exciting. Other people go, oh my God, we don't know what's beyond the ever-expanding space that they told us about. No, we don't know. Well, I need an answer. You haven't got an answer? Well, then I'll just hold on to the old answer.
I'm the same way. I leave the house every day, and the world is a big mystery, a beautiful mystery.
I love it,
and I love it.
I love it.
Me too.
Flat
Earth's ace, right? So for some people, it's just fantastic.
And your upside down people and all that, you can keep that. I don't need any of that.
When I drive, I drive in this very long road to work, and I just look at perspective. I just look at the buildings. It's so crazy. Yeah, look at the moon. I'm like, what is that? Look at the stars. What is that? It's like you're a kid again, which is, I didn't think I'd like it. At first I didn't, but it's really enjoyable. Well, in the history.
You guys heard the term.
All the years I spent as a kid looking up at the moon and thinking, why is like half of that big rock missing during the day? Why can't I see that? That's weird. And it would kind of creep me out because I never understood that. Because it's a big rock. Half of it should if it's up there, it should just be up there. But now, I don't have to worry about that. That's beautiful.
One thing that seems to be pushed a lot is people fear the unknown. You guys heard that, right? I don't think that's true. I think people are curious about the unknown. What do you guys think?
It depends on the person. Some people do actually fear it, man. Come on. Some people really fear it.
I think some people are terrified by this concept. Some people are fighting it so staunchly because it literally scares the crap out of them.
Or they fear change.
And we all know that, some people won't go straight to the flat earth because they need a specific model or a specific story to hold on to. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say any names, but, there are people who need like a teddy bear model to replace their globe. And then there are others that don't. I don't need that, and I'm good.
To Free for hitting the super chat. Really appreciate your support. Thank you very much indeed.
Speaking of unknowns, I'm going to self-plug myself, or not plug myself in that way, you know what I mean. Afterwards, after the after show, I'm going to do a live stream, and I'd like to talk about the unknowns rather than talking about the unknowns on the Flat Earth debate. I like to keep the Flat Earth debate on topic. So feel free to join in and talk about stuff like that.
I could tell you right off the bat.
Oh, I'm Slick. Sorry, Slick.
My fault.
And where would that be, Eben? Where would people be able to find you?
Well, most people here are on YouTube, so it's on my YouTube channel is just called Ebon Kim, EBONKIM.
Excellent stuff. I'll put a link to one of your videos in the chat now, so yeah, go and subscribe immediately to Eben Kim. Ebon Kim. I will get there eventually.
Thanks.
Yes, I was going to say that all unknowns are just part of the imagination.
You elaborate on that one?
Well, think about it. there are no unknowns in your experience because you're experiencing all there is in that experience. So anything that's unknown is outside of that experience and therefore is just part of the imagination. In other words, you believe that this may happen, you believe that that may happen. That's outside of the experience.
I get it. Like thinking about something that you don't know is bringing that into your experience, but since you don't know it, it's just imagination. I get it.
Now, how many here are okay with not knowing what the shape of the Earth is? Or does it have to be one or the other, flat Earth or globe Earth?
I mean, it can't be it can't be a cube. So
I
mean,
think it can only be unknown.
I don't care particularly what it is. I just care that I've been lied to. That's my problem. I sat in school for years to be told bullshit, and I don't accept that.
Yeah, that's the only downside, isn't it? Along with the joy of, like, how did someone describe it? I think it was Anon said it's like being a kid again, and I completely agree with that. Was that you, Anon?
Yeah, I literally feel like a child. I have to relearn everything, and there's nobody, like, there's nobody to ask anymore. You know, when you're a kid, you assume the grown-ups have got it all figured out, and then one day somebody calls you sir, and you're like, shit, I'm a grown man, and nobody knows what the hell's going on. So, and now it's kind of taking that to the extreme, where it's like they don't know anything. They don't know, like, so you have to relearn everything, and there's nobody to ask. So you kind of have to wait. It's like this, and you have to get comfortable. At least with me personally, I am comfortable with knowing that I don't think this thing is going to change in my lifetime. I highly doubt by the time I die that you know, the idea of flat Earth is going to be like a accepted thing, and I don't think I will definitely know what's going on. But that's okay. There's a great Wakey. I don't know if you guys follow Wakey. He has a YouTube channel. Really good stuff. Yeah, he also says the same thing. Echoes what Nathan says. Where basically it's like, he's like, "Hi, my name is," I forget his name. "Hi, my name is John, and
Mark
I have no idea where I am." Mark. Hi, my name is Mark, and I have no idea where I am. and I agree with that. I have no idea where I am.
Yeah. That's like we've all, well, several of us have agreed that that's wonderful, but the flip side of that is the absolute outrage when you appreciate that you've been lied to on a massive scale. The heliocentric world is the biggest deception ever foisted upon mankind, and when you appreciate that, it's an outrage, right?
Lots of background noise.
Somebody needs to mute.
Yes. Yeah. I was waiting for a time to talk. Since I'm talking now, I was just going to say about the shape of the Earth. I wonder if whatever this plane looks like, it's not a shape that we have a category for yet. You know what I mean? There's something about it. So if you think about somebody saying, well, what's the Earth resting on? Right?
Turtles. Shout out to Phil Bell. Says, your thoughts. Do the elites know the truth? And I think that's a very good question. So I was waiting till there was a reasonable pause. Instead, I ended up cutting off Travis like I did yesterday. I'm so sorry, Travis.
Yeah, it's okay. No worries.
So, do the elites know the truth? I don't think they care. They care about the narrative. They care about money. They care about control. They care about power. The truth, that's not very high on the priority list, in my opinion.
Well, one of the questions that has to come up is, who put this belief system in place?
So I have a thing to say about that. I hope I don't get kicked off. But Nathan, do you remember that show you did with Johnny Cerrucci?
I do, very well.
Are you still, like, you were in agreement with him, I guess you want to say? Do you still agree with him?
In terms of the power structure that he laid out, I think that's obvious, and it takes a minor degree of research to back up anything that he claimed on that show. So, yeah, I would. You only have to look at where the power is to see where the power is, right? Who's in charge? The people who are in charge.
Well, I mean, with his thing, it was like it was a high Catholic priest, and we don't think they're in charge. Nobody right now, if you ask them, everybody thinks that, oh, they're just playing dress up. They don't really in charge. You know, it's the banks, it's the corporations, yada yada. So most people don't think that who Johnny Cerrucci pointed out as to being on the top is actually on the top, right?
But they are on top. You're telling me the Pope's not on top?
As far as power structure goes, with to me and you talking and people in this community, I guess, quote unquote community talking, maybe, but as an average Joe, no, they think that Pope, is basically
but
like a figurehead, right?
But well, yeah, they just see that person as a figurehead because there's no direct connection. But does that mean that their power of influence doesn't directly affect you? Well, no, of course not. It does.
Well, no, me and you believe that, but I'm saying average Joe doesn't think that. Average Joe thinks,
I see what you're saying. Well,
average Joe thinks that they're just playing dress up. They're really a cute little old man who plays in this little house, and you know what I mean?
You mean like Alan B?
No, I get your point now. Sorry, I completely missed your point. Yeah, what Johnny Cerrucci's going through isn't necessarily for everyone. Yeah, your average Joe would come across that and just, it would be so far beyond what they could comprehend that they'd just immediately discount it as nonsense. They're just talking about people who just play dress up, as you put it. So yeah, I totally get your point.
Right. So, and then my other point that I was trying to bring up, leading to there, is so I did finally watch the Quantum Erasers, both the creation one and the double split experiment one. And towards the end, well, not the creation one, but the double split one, he kept referring to this guy that, I forget his name. He's a professor at Vienna University who he said that, oh, I can't believe he doesn't have a Nobel Prize. Yeah, he's done this in quantum mechanics, yada, yada. So I just pulled him up. I just want to see something about him. So he accolades for days. He has awards of this and awards of that. And currently he's like the head of a physics department and quantum mechanics at Vienna University. So I clicked on Vienna University and started reading that wiki. And of course, it was basically it's a Jesuit school. So, and I posted that information. I copy pasted in our Skype. So it just, I watched the Johnny Cerrucci episode with you. That resonated with me. And then I watched the QE and I hear him praising a guy who basically is the head of physics department at a Jesuit school. And alarm bells just goes off, ding, 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 all over. That's all I have to say.
Well, that's an appeal to the person's character as opposed to the scientific validity that he gives in his experimentation backed by hypothesis, right? And I assume that when John presents that individual, he's presenting him for exactly that, his scientific accolades and his adherence to the scientific method, not as him as a personal. Yeah, he's lending weight to it with, yeah, okay, I'm not going to talk my way out of this. I'll just stop. Yeah. Okay, I see your point. So what?
And nothing. I know he's your friend. I'm not going to have you say anything bad about him. That's all. I'm telling you what I was experiencing, what I saw. This is my point of view.
Sure, and I could easily equivocate with Jaron and say Jaron went to a Jesuit school. But away.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he?
Maybe okay, I'm pretty sure it was Jesuit.
I don't know. It's one thing to like be placed at something Loyola school, high school, or some Jesuit elementary school, because they're all over the place, for whatever reason, because your parents were religious, versus being the head of physics department at a Jesuit I forget how the wiki stated it, but it's like that school was like revived to be a Jesuit stronghold and to lead the physics department and come up with all this quantum stuff that makes no sense. Even John was admitting, he's like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. To a certain extent, it's like, you call me crazy. He was saying that. So it's things that you have to suspend belief in. So it's different than just going to Jesuit high school versus running the physics department that's coming up with all this information.
Sure. If you looked into that individual and his politics, it might be that they are corrupt. However, as I said earlier, it's not necessarily the guy or his views that are being taken into consideration. Yes, his post is being used for the globe heads who do like to appeal to authority. In other words, this is a credible source from a current university, as opposed to this is my opinion or this is Joe Blogg's opinion, because he's backing the argument with the citation, and the citation that he's giving is in specific reference to its scientific validity. So in my personal opinion, yeah, you've got me over a barrel if you want to hold it to task on the person in a university, but if you're trying to find you could take it one step further. John uses Neil deGrasse Tyson in some of his quotes, what he'd call a hostile source. Well, the same principle applies, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that he agrees with the views of Neil deGrasse Tyson when he cites him as a source. Same for Brian Cox. He cites Dr. Brian Cox. Does that mean he agrees with the position that he holds at CERN? Well, of course not. If he's gonna cite him, it'll either be for some scientific validity he has, or something that contravenes the current narrative that's been stated by Cox. So I can't remember what the quote was from Cox, something about the universe being flat, or I can't remember exactly. But nevertheless, the point is that the fact that your source as an individual person may not be credible for the reasons that you give, i.e. they're part of a Jesuit structure that ultimately controls the narrative to begin with. Well, yes, that's absolutely true, and he may have a hand in that, may have a huge hand in that, but does that take away from the scientific validity given to an experiment he's done? No, especially not when it's been repeated thousands of times. So I wouldn't necessarily discredit the source for that reason, although I can totally appreciate your objections for all the reasons that Johnny Cerrucci give. And like I said earlier, I do agree with him. And you know that. I've agreed with him on camera. I'm not going to step away from what I've already agreed with, because,
No, I hear.
You don't have, I'm just repeating myself, you only have to scratch the surface to see that the power is where the power is. But anyway.
Yeah, but and also, the experiment, I watched it. I didn't actually see any experiment. I mean, I saw a diagram, kind of like how the Sagnac experiment is explained with the lasers and the prism and the beam splitter and the silver mirror and all that. But he talked about firing a single photon, leaving, going to Bahamas and coming back, yada yada. The place burns down. I heard all that, but I never during anywhere I was shown or explained how you can fire a single photon. I didn't see any of that. It was just basically a diagram.
Sorry to interrupt. So John, I won't say made me, but we had an agreement that if this came up on us, I said it'll never come up again, and then it came up the very next day, and I agreed to put a video link in the main Nathan Oakley 1980 channel stream, so I just haven't got to updating this. So this currently is going out live on Nathan Oakley channel, and I haven't updated the info box. However, if you're watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980, you can now click the link, go to the info box, and there is an experiment being performed with single photons being fired. So you can go and observe that. It's about 3 minutes long. I think it's what's the guy, the black guy with the freckles? Morgan Freeman. It's got Morgan Freeman talking to is it Professor Shankar? I can't remember exactly. I'd have to review it. I only watched it once and just stuck it in to appease John, because I basically lost an agreement, so that's why it's there. But I'm glad it is, because now I can just say to you, yes, not on this channel, Nathan Oakley, but on the main channel, Nathan Oakley 1980, in every single info box, that video is now there, along with the one that you watched, if anybody wants to refer to what this conversation about, which would be the double slit quantum eraser experiment, also linked in Nathan Oakley 1980. I will update Nathan Oakley so it has the same info, so I don't have to do this long-winded explanation next time this comes up on the show, which, as John said it would, and it has, and it is now. It will happen again, so I'll stick it in Nathan Oakley as well. But yeah, feel free to go to any of the main channel videos and just have a watch of that 3-minute video, and you can watch single photons being fired. So there you go.
Yeah, and you don't get to see the photons, so you just see dots on a screen, on a computer screen. So you have to appeal that the computer is actually doing what it's doing.
Well, while that might be true, you do have scientific validity to the experimentation that's been performed, and it has to detect it on a detector. So yes, it is being presented on a screen so you can see an enlarged version of what's being detected, in the same way as a piece of camera film can detect this. And you can watch it if you had a more crude version of the same thing. They could do it with photographic film, and the same principle would apply. But no, it is being done with modern technology, so you could pull it apart on that basis if you wish to. So I'm not going to disagree with you, Flat on Earth. That is absolutely true.
Thank you.
Well, that's it.
So there you go. Check it out. It's in the info box. If you watch this on Nathan Oakley 1980, he says under his breath. It's a fascinating subject.
But I just have to say one more thing. Like, if that was just some globehead coming in with that experiment, I don't think he would have gotten like past the first 5 sentences before, you know, you would have stopped him and said, "Where's the natural phenomena? Where's the double split tree? Where's the laser tree?" Like, there was lots of appeal to authority, and I guess I they are authorities, so we should appeal to them. They're not just some bloke. That's what the actual logical fallacy is. I get that. It's if for people that actually have the quote unquote accolades, that doesn't apply. But I just thought there was lots of like, oh, Nobel Prize, and there's lots of declarations where it's like, I wrote some of them down, but it was just like, we know particles particle and wave wave, we know it, and then we just move past on it. I couldn't stop it because it wasn't live, but I just was like, no, okay. So there was, and I learned that from you guys. There was like there's an old drug commercial in the United States where the kid is smoking some marijuana in a pipe, and the dad catches him, and the baby cries, says, "I learned it from you, Dad." And it's kind of like the same thing. I was like, I learned it from you, Nathan, and Johnny himself, that, before anybody just keeps moving on and declaring things and saying they observe this, whoa, slow down. But then watching it from you guys, it was kind of surreal. I had to say that. I'm sorry, but it was kind of surreal, and I just wish that you would have stopped him, way before he just declared things and moved on.
Well, it's not declaration, it's presenting scientific validity backed by a hypothesis that has driven scientific discovery and technological advancement. So there's quite a lot that actually has come from these experiments in terms of advancements. And it's not that when a globehead comes in and presents what they claim to be an experiment, you don't see any validity. You don't see hundreds of repeats of the systematic experimentation stage being adhered to. You don't see that, and you don't see any technological advancement being developed off the back of a globehead claimed experiment.
How about GPS? Because the globehead will come and say, we have satellites, they're orbiting. That's how GPS works. Without a GPS, wouldn't work. It's the same thing when saying, "Oh, really? Oh, without quantum mechanics, you wouldn't have computers."
What was the science done behind GPS? What was the experimental validity given to a global positioning system? That's technology only. I can
say the same thing about the delayed quantum effect with the sister photon. None of that. It's all magic. It's just it honestly, to me, the idea that I live on a ball makes more sense than the whole quantum world where particles affect each other before in time, where he knew what happened. Like, what? No, this is Narnia. Like you say, this is Narnia.
Other than the technological advancements that have come as a direct result of experimental discovery. So the computer that you're using is based on quantum principles. So it's easy to say it's the same as globeheads until you have technology off the back of scientific discovery. That's what actually is the benefit for us as people. That's what we get out of it, right? Actual scientific discovery does benefit us, and quantum science absolutely has. I mean, this is just, to me, quite laughable, but I'm going to have to round out the live show on that. So with that, I will say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience in the Nathan Oakley stream for tuning in, hopefully smashing the super chat. Well, you did. I've been here. This isn't the pre-record. Thank you for smashing the super chat. I really do appreciate it. Stay tuned if you're on the Nathan Oakley 1980 stream, as there will be an after show to follow. If you want to keep up to date with the community debate, go to nathanoakley.com after the live stream is over to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!